right way. It's Marv and Rauh in the morning.
5 straight days of just epic football starting today. It's going to start today, and it's going to be fantastic between college football and NFL. Got so much to talk about on today's episode of Marv and Rauh in the morning. Good morning, Christian Rauh, Nick Marovets here. Got a fun episode for you today. We're going to do a complete deep dive into the NFL playoffs. Wildcard weekend is here from Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And then, as I mentioned, with Thursday and Friday's college football playoff games, I mean, you get the future, the present, dare I say, the past a little bit with Matt Stafford still sitting there, right? Aaron Rodgers still around. So there's a lot to get into here in this episode. Nick, this is going to be fun. And I mean, did you expect the teams that, before we can get started, did you expect some of these teams to make it? Like, because there's some that I did have no expectations, and now they're here.
I mean, yeah, your mind obviously goes to the Panthers right away, but my answer to the Panthers is it's the NFC South. It's literally a coin toss. It's going to be one of them. You never know who's going to come away with the championship there because they have a losing record. Like, it literally could be anything. But outside of that, I mean, if you would have told me the Bears would be 11-6, 2-3 years ago, I probably would have been like, oh, that's surprising. The Jags are having a phenomenal year. I think we're in store for a really, really solid and fun postseason.
Yeah, I mean, if it continues, the heaters we've been on with the FCS National Championship, with Thursday Night Football, all that
college
good
basketball.
Stuff. Yeah, college basketball too. I mean, the Packers-Bears a couple Saturdays ago, we're going to get that on a Saturday night yet again. So, yeah, there's a lot of really good games coming up here in the next couple weeks, and I am super excited. This is the best time of the year if you are a football fan. Hey, listen, thank you for 150 subscribers over on YouTube. We are absolutely growing. We've only been around, I think today's actually our 1 month anniversary for the channel, so I didn't get you anything. I'm sorry. So apologize about that. But yeah, exciting stuff here. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Bringing you Marv and Rauh in the morning, daily sports every weekday, and of course bonus content as well on our YouTube channel. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's dive in, and we'll start from the beginning all the way to the end. Saturday, 1:30 Pacific time. We should probably give you the Eastern time. Saturday, 4:30 p.m. on Fox. The Rams and the Panthers. And I think, honestly, the biggest narrative here is nobody's giving the Carolina Panthers a chance. Nobody's giving them a shot against the Los Angeles Rams, who think are a complete underdog. Many think are a dark horse for this one. Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. I mean, that is an interesting stadium. I've been there. I sat towards the top. I went to a Bills-Panthers preseason game a few years ago, and that stadium has I don't know if the word is like gladiator feel, but it feels like it's just insane. It feels like when you're way up high. I mean, I thought I was going to fall down the stairs. It's so steep too, but regardless, it's a wild stadium. Cam Newton's supposed to be banging the drum in this one. Do you give Carolina any chance? I think that maybe people are sleeping on the Carolina Panthers. They've won some games, including beating the Rams in the regular season this year.
Yeah, it's the NFL for one, right? So any given Sunday applies here, even if it isn't technically on Sunday. And the other side of it too is they are at home, so there is that as well. And Panthers fans are going to be hungry, right? Like, this isn't if it were at the Rams stadium. Obviously, the Rams get to be at home, but I do feel like there's an element of oh, we're favored by touchdown or whatever it is. I don't even know what the actual line is for this one. Oh, it's 10.5, so it's more than a touchdown.
10.5 for the Rams.
It's. I guess we'll go. And it's LA too, so nobody really goes to those games. Versus Carolina, I feel like everybody is going to be there. It's going to be really loud. So I'm not saying Carolina can't win it, but I will say there's a pretty clear talent gap, even just inside the NFL, from the Panthers to the Rams. So I'm leaning Rams, obviously. But if the Panthers found a way to win this game, it would not I wouldn't be beside myself. I would be like, okay, at least I can connect the dots and see how that happened.
What does this do? Let's speak about the Rams first. What does this do? You're not supposed to talk about playoffs when you talk MVP race, but come on, let's be serious. That award doesn't come out until later on in the year. What does that do for Matt Stafford if he loses the game against the Carolina Panthers in week 1, wildcard weekend? A team that many people say don't deserve to be there. The 8-9 record, the losing record. Well, there was a team just about a decade ago that had a losing record that entered the playoffs. and they wound up upsetting the defending Super Bowl champs at that time, the New Orleans Saints. It was the Seattle Seahawks at the moment that had a losing record in that one. Carolina Panthers could do the same exact thing, and they could do that against the Los Angeles Rams. Obviously not the defending champs, but you get what I'm saying when it comes to that regard. Matt Stafford's thrown for almost 5,000 yards this year, 46 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, obviously one of the clear favorites to be in the MVP race. He's got some amazing talent around him in Kyron Williams and Puka Nacua. See if Devontae Adams obviously plays. There's a lot of good things around this Rams offense. What does it mean if they can't succeed?
Well, if they lose, yeah, it's officially over, because I feel like it's wrapped up right now with Drake May getting the MVP. And that's just obviously through the eyes of a Patriots fan. But there's been a lot of talk of like advanced analytics, and I think everyone wants to bring up like how many 1-yard touchdowns Stafford has. And I watched the highlight tape and I was like, low key, maybe I don't agree with the fact that like, oh, the 1-yard touchdowns is unimpressive. Like, I think there's some talent to putting the ball where it needs to be on the 1-yard line. But if Stafford loses this game, you're exactly right. Like it shouldn't be taken into account. It should be a regular season award. But since it's not given out right now and they will play before the award is given out, it will 100% affect the race. And losing to a negative, a below 500 team is not going to look good. I guess the only way that they could lose this game and Matt Stafford would maybe move up or be unaffected in the race would be if he throws for 560 yards, 8 touchdowns, and the Panthers just end up winning this game, 90-88. Like there's a chance, there's a world where it's completely blamed on the defense. Like what else could Matt Stafford have done? He accumulated every single offensive yard for the Rams. They scored a touchdown on every drive. They started going for 2 in the second half. He converted every one of those, but the defense was just literally sitting around and it became a shootout. If that were to happen, I guess Matt Stafford would have a real shot. But I think in any other realistic capacity, if they lose this game, it's Drake May's award.
When you're looking at records against teams inside the playoff field, so obviously you would assume those are the best teams in the league because those are the top 14 remaining. The Rams are 4-4 against them. The Panthers are 2-5. So take that for what you will. However, they've won a lot of good games this year. The Panthers have won some games, and I don't even know if the 2-5 record actually makes sense. Now that I think about that, I think that's a wrong stat because they've won against the Rams, they've beat the Niners, and they were close with the Seahawks. Maybe it's right. Maybe that actually is a correct stat there. But the 2 wins are against important teams on their NFC side. On the flip side with the Panthers, we talked about this in the past. Bryce Young has had plenty of comeback drives in his young career, especially this year. They've had more wins this year than they have in the past 2 years for his franchise. This is obviously a big breakout year for Bryce Young and the rest of the offense. Ted Aurora McMillan, obviously in line to be maybe offensive rookie of the year across the entire league, even if they're ahead of schedule, because I think you can safely say that they're ahead of schedule, because if they're in any other division, they're not a playoff team.
Right.
What is your thoughts here? An upset obviously can happen. We've mentioned any given Sunday or Saturday for this case, but like if they win, is it going to be a classic Bryce Young game-winning drive? And isn't that wild to have to say classic Bryce Young game-winning drive? Already using the word classic in front of a 3-year vet.
Yeah, I think it will end up being something where it's close, and they have to capitalize at the end of this one just because they're playing a really solid team. Looking at who they've played this year, if they hadn't have beat the Rams, other than their Packers win, I would be very cautious about this game just because they've beaten a lot of teams like, the Falcons, who are they? The Cowboys stink. I'm sorry. The Dolphins, the Jets, they got the Bucks. Like those are wins. Yeah, they're not really that impressive just in the comparison to other teams in the NFL. And they've won some of those games handily. Like they won against the Falcons 30-0, but their game against the Rams that they won, which was impressive, I'll give them that, was a 1-score game, 31-28. I expect this to be a game where if the Panthers want to be in it, like if they want to win this game, they have to keep it close and they have to rely on a one, who has the ball last. Can they kick it and potentially stop the Rams? I feel like you don't even want to be in that situation. You want to have the ball in Bryce Young's hands with, less than 5 minutes to go, and they're going to have a real shot to score and just hope that they didn't or the Rams don't have enough time, right? Like they force the Rams into a corner. I think that's the way they win this game, but I guess there's a real chance that they win it by maybe 10 points. I guess, if some weird turnover happens at the end of this one. But I expect, at least if not a very close game, the Panthers win that game. It's going to be very one-sided in the Rams' direction. So the Panthers have to keep it close. Then is the only other option.
We talk about this all the time when it comes to teams inside of their division. It's hard to beat a team twice in one season. It is very difficult to do so, especially if they're not in your division, because you're not used to playing them or planning for them twice in 1 year. The last time this game happened, as you mentioned, Panthers won 31-28, actually snapped a Rams 6-game win streak. So when the Rams were coming in red hot, the Panthers shut them down. Stafford had 3 turnovers in that game. Bryce Young threw for 3 touchdowns. He was obviously the better quarterback in that one, but instead we're talking about Stafford being in the MVP race. Stafford's had a couple 3 turnover games in his season and still finding himself into the MVP race. The Panthers being one, the Falcons a couple weeks ago. This is a chance. This is totally a possibility where the Panthers could find a way to make Stafford turn it over and they could keep themselves right in this race. I mean, in that game, they held Nakua to only 72 yards on 9 targets. They held Devontae Adams on 58 yards on 5 targets. The defense is something that maybe we're not giving enough credit to Carolina. I don't think this game is going to be anywhere near the spread. I think Carolina covers the spread. 10.5 points is egregious in my opinion, especially at home. But I do think the Rams are going to sneak out of Bank of America Stadium and move on to another round.
Yeah, the way that this has to go, if you ask me, is it's going to come down to what can Dave Canales draw up? What kind of coaching can go into this game? Because looking at the schedule, the Panthers, the biggest thing is they just haven't been consistent, right? Like their offensive and defensive player output has not been consistent. If they can game plan something to basically consistency proof this team and find a way to keep it close and make some moves at the end and actually convert on plays, that's part of it too. If you keep it close and you don't make the catch, you don't make the throw, it doesn't matter. If they can convert on those plays while keeping it close, I think the Panthers can win this game. But I'm guessing that it's going to go to the better team. Like I just think that this is I'm not going to predict the upset here. Give me the Rams by, maybe 4, maybe some weird, I'm not exactly sure what it'll look like. Maybe they blow them out, but I'm going to give it to the Rams by 4 here.
ESPN analytics say the Rams are going to win 74.9% compared to that 25.1 for the Carolina Panthers. Again, that game is the first one on Wildcard Weekend, Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, and that one is on Fox. Continuing on our Saturday, Super Wildcard Saturday, the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears, 8 o'clock Eastern. You got to get Prime Video if you want to watch this one. This one's wild. Saturday night. Hey, remember a couple Saturdays ago, this game was absolutely insane. This was the game that went to overtime. I think that really kind of started our heater. This was the one that kind of started the heater. Well, maybe not started, but continued it on. I think the Thursday night game between the Seahawks and Rams probably started it all up. But either way, that game was absolutely insane. 22-16. It was an absolute stunner with Caleb Williams finding DJ Moore in the end zone for an overtime winner. But for the most part, the Packers controlled this game. There was a stat that popped up on social media. I can't remember where I found it, so I can't credit it. But on both games this divisional round, both games in this division this year between the Packers and Bears, the Bears have not led for a single second in both games.
That's incredible.
Yet the Bears have won one of the games because they scored the game winner in overtime. So they didn't lead until they took over the lead, as time obviously didn't matter because you end the game in overtime. Yeah. So for both games, the Packers have led the entire time. How wild is that? It's either been tied or it's either been the Packers with the lead.
It's funny you say that because I was just thinking, looking at these two teams, I'm actually a little surprised at the number. Green Bay 9-7-1. Like it feels like they're much closer to a 11-12 win team, just the way that they operate. Injuries. It's surprising to me, and they feel like they're in control a lot when I watch them play. So I feel like they're much better than their 9-7-1 record shows. And maybe that makes me a casual, but I'm from around the Green Bay area, so not necessarily that close. Unfortunately, I'm right in the middle of like a bunch of pro teams. But I'm going to go ahead and say that this Packers team is legit. They're better than that 9-7-1 record. So for those of you out there who are like, I'd rather take the 11-6 team. Like, I don't know. I think this Packers team is actually really, really good. And you said injuries. Like, how big of an injury role is that going to play in this game?
Yeah, I mean they're coming into the playoffs on a 4-game losing streak. If it wasn't for the tie, they wouldn't be in. That literally the tie with the Cowboys early in the season had saved them from
Yeah.
making it into the playoffs. They were the last one to sneak in, 7th seed. And when you look at the injuries, I mean Jordan Love is the first one you talk about. He's obviously going to be back. We'll see how much that actually takes place. He was injured in that game against the Chicago Bears, and okay, so what makes you wonder? How much rust does he have? Is he going to be willing to be ready to go right off the bat on Saturday night? And if so, are they going right back to normal where they control the entire game? But here's the thing. You can control the entire game, but if you don't control it at the very last second, you lose the football game. Controlling the game is one thing. Completing the game is the complete other. Jordan Love has to make sure if he wants to do that, he's got to make sure that he's ready to go on Saturday night. I think this is a very important game for the Green Bay Packers. Look at the Jordan Love conversation we've had in the past, asking the question, is Jordan Love the quarterback for the future for the Green Bay Packers? Yes, his contract is one thing, but look what Malik Willis has done. Although he hasn't won football games, he's shown he can move that offense. And then, of course, Matt LaFleur. What does his leash look like? This could be a very interesting game. If this doesn't go in Green Bay's favor, it could be a very interesting offseason for the Packers.
Yeah, things could shake up, very, very quickly over in Green Bay. I would say, I don't know if I'm going to put that much weight into it, but I do think that there is, what you're saying is completely valid. Like, I don't know if they're going to move on from Jordan Love necessarily, but I assume that big changes will be made. And you make a great point. Like, is it the system? Is Jordan Love just good because of what Matt LaFleur is doing? Could they just move on to a younger guy? Is that what Matt LaFleur would want to do? Or would he rather, kind of die on the ship and ride Jordan Love, maybe not that, but ride the Jordan Love boat out and just see if he can kind of stay the course there. So I think you're exactly right. I think this is a big game and an opportunity for them to kind of save the season. Like you said, ending the season on a losing streak. Sometimes it literally comes down to how the season ends. It's not about how it started or anything like that in the NFL. Sometimes it literally just comes down to what was the output. Look at the Ravens, right? Like it just literally came down to whether the kick went in or not. And that was the deciding factor on whether Harbaugh was going to be the coach next season. So I think that the Packers will be fine in this one. I'm actually going to go ahead and pick them. But I think you're exactly right that this is a big time game for everyone in the building.
The Bears have been kind of shaky in the last couple of games as their season as well. Obviously, their offense hasn't looked very good. Caleb Williams has shined towards the end of the game, which, I mean, if you want them to be good at one point, you want them to be good towards the end for sure. And that, of course, that helps you win games like in overtime against the Packers. But if Caleb Williams can show you better performance in quarter 1, quarter 2, hell, even quarter 3, I think you have a way better shot at doing this. I like what Ben Johnson's doing with this team. I have a lot of faith in what Ben Johnson's going to do to the Bears for the future. I just wonder if it's here yet, right? The Bears are 6-1 at home, though. Let's not shake that. I mean, well, 6-1 at home after the game against the Packers. I think they lost a couple other ones, but either way, they had a very good season. I was looking at that 6-1 when I had the Packers tab up. There's 6-2. Excuse me.
6-2.
They lost the Lions to end the season.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, I think I like the Bears here. I think I'm going to go with the Bears because I think they have more of the momentum. I think they have a more complete team. I think injuries are more of a bigger deal when it comes to Green Bay Packers. Look, when you look at that overtime game, yes, the Packers led the entire game until the very end. The Bears had 10 penalties for over 100 penalty yards. All that stuff is correctable. Now, it hasn't been all season. The Bears have had some issues with some false starts. They've had some issues with penalties, with offensive just confusion. I'm sure that Ben Johnson offense isn't the easiest to understand. But I think when it comes down to it, and you have to say, all right, it's time to go to work, boys. I think it's time to go to work. And I'm going to take the Chicago Bears to win this game, but I think it's a close one. I think we're in for another slobber knocker, if you will. ESPN analytics have Green Bay Packers being the favorite in this one as well, 55.9%. Chicago Bears, 44.1%. Again, 8 o'clock Eastern on Prime Video. We're split here. This is the first time we're split, and this one's going to be interesting now. I would not be shocked if it went the other way, but I'm going to lean the Bears to win this game.
The Bears. Yeah, give me the Packers. And your point about momentum, I'm going to disagree with, just me personally. I don't think either of these teams have momentum right now, and I think it comes down to hunger and who needs it more, which I know that I love to say that. It's like, which team wants to win in the playoffs more? I get it. Like, obviously, both teams want to win this game. But what's at stake? And you mentioned like what could happen inside the Packers organization versus for the Bears. Feels like the Bears are quote unquote ahead of schedule a little bit with Ben Johnson. The Packers are kind of on the end of a tail run here with Matt LaFleur. Like, can they extend it and whatever? I think they're going to come into this one ready. I think it really comes down to preparation when you talk about who wants it more, not necessarily in the game. So I expect the Packers to be ready, to have a few tricks up their sleeve and to really have a few solid kind of concepts they're going to rely on. I give me the cheese, man. I don't know. I guess we'll see. This is going to be a classic NFC North battle, which we love to get in the playoffs. But I think I have to go with the Packers here.
That Saturday night football is going to be really fun. I mean, I think both those games are going to be exciting. I think it's going to set us up for a great Sunday into a Monday night football playoff game. It's going to be a very exciting long weekend for the NFL playoffs. Hey, before we do so, if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, Marv and Rauh in the morning, bringing you content every single day here live or on the channel for bonus content over on YouTube. You can check us out every single day at Marv and Rauh in the morning. Hey, 1993, today in sports history, 1993. Remember this guy, Michael Jordan? Well, he had his game-high 35 points in this one to lead Chicago to a 120-95 win over the Milwaukee Bucks. Why is it so important? Well, it gave him exactly 20,000 points in his 620th game of his NBA career. It made him the second fastest to reach that milestone. Only Wilt Chamberlain did it faster, 499 games. That's your history. Today in history, 1993. I'm sure you remember that year.
Yeah, I do. No, I remember, and Michael Jordan and I are super tight too, so I'm happy for him. I remember that like it was just yesterday, and the party we had after that was really something. So shout out to MJ for doing that, and I'm wondering, how does he feel now with LeBron has the all-time minutes record now? Like the guy just keeps racking up records. At least MJ has, this day though in sports history goes to him.
You're younger than me, obviously. So is MJ your GOAT? Is it LeBron? Who's got it for you?
It's a tough question.
Before you answer.
Well, and I used to be a diehard MJ guy. Like I would go to the stake for MJ, and now recently I've kind of become like they're two different eras. They're two different almost conversations because like the longevity of LeBron is just you cannot hold that against him. That is unbelievable what he is doing. So they're kind of like two different goats. They're like, you got your mountain goats and then you've got like your prairie goats. Like they're two different kinds of goats, in my opinion.
All right. Well, there you go. Sunday NFL playoffs are going to kick off with an absolute boom. Bills, Jaguars, 1:00 CBS. This to me is going to be an insane game. I'm willing to say that I think whoever wins this football game is your AFC representative for the Super Bowl. I think whoever wins this game is the one that goes all the way for the AFC. Do they win? That's a different story, but I think that's your team. Everbank Stadium, Jacksonville, Florida. The Buffalo Bills, obviously the biggest narrative. Everybody's saying, well, there's no Lamar Jackson. There's no Joe Burrow. There's no Patrick Mahomes. Hey, Josh Allen, if you're going to win a Super Bowl, it's got to be now. If it's not now, then when is it? I hate that narrative because, come on, how many times are we going to say that quarterback wins or wins aren't a quarterback stat? But then we want to do this narrative. Like this is I'm pretty sure there's 11 players on each side of the football. I understand quarterback's important, but like, I don't like that narrative. I'm not going to lie to you, but I understand where it's coming from. I completely get it. It's a weird thing that we don't have Mahomes. We don't have Lamar. We don't have Burrow in the playoffs. On the flip side, Trevor Lawrence looks great. This Jacksonville offense, this Jacksonville team, what they've done, trading up to get Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter gets hurt. The Lamborghini's in the garage, and they're still finding a way to win the AFC South, go 13-4, and host the playoff game. There's a lot of history here. And I know that you are very good in your history. I know this, right? I know you're a youngster of NFL history. You know this, but let me just remind you here. The first ever playoff game for the Jacksonville Jaguars was in Buffalo. It was the final game for Jim Kelly. The Jaguars beat the Buffalo Bills. It was Jim Kelly's final game in Wildcard weekend, 1996. It was the first one for the Jaguars, the final one for arguably the greatest Bills quarterback other than Josh Allen. History right off the bat. Then the Jaguars played in the playoffs again against the Bills in 2017. The first playoff game after the playoff drought for the Bills. The Jaguars won again. The Jaguars are 2-0 against the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. Oh, and here's another crazy stat. You might think about all these crazy, wild 4 straight Super Bowls for the Bills back in the 90s. The Buffalo Bills are 0-8 on the road in playoff history. 0-8 on
Wow.
the road in the playoffs since, well, I should say since 1993, not history. Insane stuff. 0-8. This is a wild game here. The Bills Jaguars. Who wins this one in your mind?
That's a good thing it's a good thing you pointed that out, because I was genuinely about to say, this is crazy. I feel like the Bills play better on the road. I feel like everything that I've seen over the last few years, it's the Bills are at home and they're unable to capitalize late. And maybe that's just me being, simple-minded, which I don't necessarily hate either. It's something beautiful about not really having to pay attention to everything that's going on. But I think my initial thought process was literally, oh, they're on the road, give me the Bills. But just to kind of reiterate what you were saying, this is going to be one of the best games of the weekend. So it's hard to really pick a team. The spread is literally 1.5. So it's going to come down to basically who has the ball last. What's the game plan in the fourth quarter, I think, is going to be very, very important here. Who can capitalize, make the big plays. And the Jags have shocked everybody. I think they've stepped up to the plate in a big way. So I guess I'll lean them here, just literally because of the stat you threw out. But I think it's going to be very, very close. And I think somehow Josh Allen he cannot escape the 13-second finish. We have to get a touchdown in 60 seconds here, 67, 68 seconds, whatever it is, just over a minute. You got 2 timeouts. It throws a deep bomb, Stephon Diggs right through the hands. Like, it feels like he's always so close to getting these wins. And I don't know if that streak continues here, but I guess I'm curious if, obviously on the road, Josh Allen can't get it done. It comes down to a last-second drive once again. Are there question marks in Buffalo? Like, it feels like this is just the story over and over and over.
Question marks, yes. Question marks towards Josh Allen? No. I think the question marks towards the weapons of Josh Allen, yes, because the biggest question is, what kind of receivers does he have? What's his receivers in the? Yes, his tight ends are great. His running back's fantastic. His offensive line's fantastic. But what's his receivers? And if it comes down to that, needs a big play and his receivers can't step up, then yeah, I think there's a big question mark heading into this one. This one wouldn't shock me if the Bills lost this game, that maybe they decided to move on from Sean McDermott. They just say, look, we have a guy in Josh Allen who won the MVP last year. We can't get over the hump. Can't get past the AFC Championship with the Chiefs around. Now we can't even get out of Wildcard weekend against the Jaguars. Again, that rivalry's strong. It's one of those weird histories that if you're a Bills fan, you know about playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's not even just in the playoffs either. There's been some blowouts in the Mark Brunell, Doug Flutie years where the Jaguars have just had the Bills number. It's one of those weird series between these two. Now, there have been some lately where the Bills have just completely blown the brakes off the Jaguars, but this is a different game. The Jaguars look completely different here. You speak about home and away. The Jaguars, while at home, they're 7-2 at home this year. No other team in the NFL has a higher point differential than the Jacksonville Jaguars while being at home. They have turned Everbank Stadium into maybe the hardest place to play in the NFL. It's absolutely insane. Everything is pointing towards the direction to say Jacksonville should win this game, but I'm going to ask you one question right here. What would you rather have? Would you rather have the best running game in the NFL, or would you rather have the best run-stopping defense in the NFL?
If I had to pick between the two,
yeah.
For my team, I think I'd probably go best running game.
If that's the case, then you think the Buffalo Bills are going to win this football game.
Wow.
That's what we're getting. We're getting the best running game in the NFL. James Cook is the rushing leader. They're the best running team in the NFL. The Jacksonville Jaguars are the best run-stopping defense in the NFL. We're getting the best running game against the best running defense on Wildcard weekend in Everbank Stadium. The best point differential at home, with a lot on the line with between the Bills, what's going to happen with their coaching staff, maybe even GM, maybe even front office if they can't get the job done. And then on the flip side, the Jaguars are they're seen as an underdog, a 1.5 point underdog after winning the AFC South at home. I mean, all the ammo is just pointing at saying the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win this game. That's why I'm going to go a little Chris Berman here and say no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Give me the Bills to win this game Wildcard weekend. I just don't think they lose on Wildcard weekend. There's just too much stakes at hand for the coaching staff, for Josh Allen. And I think the Bills sneak one out here. But it's going to be, I think this one's going to be insane.
It's really hard for me to pick the Jags. Like, just to be clear, it feels like the Bills should win this game. And I don't know if it's because they're on the road. Like, my mind is they don't have the quote unquote pressure of being at home. Like, you're supposed to win at home. Like, you can go on the road, and I know they're favorites, but you can be a dog. Like, on the road, you're in a hostile environment. Nobody expects you to win. Like, Jags are having this phenomenal season. You can kind of have that like unseen kind of a feel to the team a little bit. And you're exactly right. The stakes are as big as they've ever been for Buffalo, I feel like. And you mentioned like who else isn't in the playoffs, and you don't want to talk about like the quarterbacks, but just as teams as a whole, I feel like this is a relatively at least new, but if not wide open playoff field. Buffalo absolutely should be in the AFC Championship game, in my opinion. So I want to take the Bills. Like, I really do. That's why I said when we started this, I was shocked to hear that stat about the Bills on the road, because that was one of the main kind of pillars that I was leaning on. And one of the reasons I want to take the Bills, but something is telling me that like it's just not going to happen. I don't know what it is. It's a total vibes thing. And like I've said a couple times now, I don't know where my vibes-o-meter is at. I haven't run the tune-ups on it recently, but I'm feeling the Jags here. And I think it really comes down to like a field goal to end it. Like, it's going to be, can Jacksonville get into range with the ball, with enough time to get the unit out there? I expect an absolute barn burner here. I don't know if it'll be, 42-45 or if it'll be 10-13, but I do think it's going to be really close. And I honestly think it's going to be the Bills have an opportunity to tie it. They leave too much time out there, and the Jags go down and get just enough into field goal range to win this game, which I don't know if I love that, but that's my guess.
Yeah, ESPN analytics have this as a definition as a coin flip. Jacksonville's 51.5 compared to 48.5 for the Buffalo Bills. You mentioned field goal range. I mean, that could be 85 yards for Cam Lewis. I mean, you're right. It could come down to a last second thing, and Jaguars could be at midfield and they could kick a game-winning field goal. That's how good they probably have the best kicker in football right now in Cam Little.
Well, hey, I have a question for you. This is a little unrelated, but I saw this come across my feed the other week. Is it a viable strategy to just get into field goal range if you've got one of these guys that can kick it like 70 plus yards, get to a roughly 60-yard field goal and just kick it time after time? Like, if you have 5 drives, that's 15 points right there. I feel like that's pretty good.
Like, you're just giving up on the drive?
Yeah, like you're just like, okay, we're in field goal range, we'll take our points.
No, I'm not about that. Not in playoff football, because I mean, if you're settling for 3 and giving another team a chance for 6 and 7, I think that's a definition, an easy way to go home. I mean, yeah, the chances are great, but like, what if you miss a field goal and then all of a sudden your drive stalls? Yeah. No, I can't be behind that. Can't do it.
I just thought it was interesting. I don't know. Like, who knows? Who knows? What if these guys could start to kick 110-yard balls? Like, as soon as you get the ball on your 20, you're in field goal range. Like,
there's going to be a spot with this new way that these balls are, where you can scuff them up and do whatever you need to do and let them be more prepared. Yeah, there's going to be probably some new regulations on how we see kickers very soon, because it's going to start not being competitive anymore. We've seen it happen with so many different things in the NFL with the kickoff rules and things like that. They're going to change something. The PAT. They're going to find out that the league thinks it's boring. And they're going to be like, yeah, this isn't fun anymore. Somebody just kicked an 80-yard field goal. Something's going to change.
I think it's what it comes down to is like, nobody wants to see the routine 55s. I feel like is what they'll say.
What we got right now. 100%.
Yeah, because like 55, you remember, gosh, I'm like, what, 10 years ago? Like, if you were kicking for 55, it was like, oh my, this is a long one. I don't know if we're going to get that. Now it's like 65, I feel like, is like that. And in another 5 years, I think it'll be 75 is like, ooh, I don't know. It's going to be close. Like 75 yards is mind-boggling, and that's really, really cool. But I think that it's going to come down to the NFL saying like, well, we've made the rest of the field irrelevant. If you're kicking from 80, everyone wants to see it. But if you're kicking from like 54, that's routine, and it's almost routine now. So I think that's probably what they'll end up trying to avoid.
When I was younger, when I was a kid, I had a football card of Jason Elam. It's back when the Denver Broncos were in their Super Bowl era with John Elway, all that stuff. And I believe it was 1998 that Jason Elam kicked a 63-yarder. It was an NFL record.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing on sports radio, because we didn't really have the 24/7 TV ESPNs back then. I mean, it was very new, right? I remember on sports radio people talking about this 63-yard field goal, and people saying this will never be repeated again. It'll never happen. What Jason Elam did is that record's safe forever.
Yeah.
And look where we're at now.
I mean, 70. Some of these kicks that are like record kicks that are going through are good from 70 plus. They just are. They're going through with a good 5, 6, even more yards between the ball and the bar.
Cam Little. He hit like a 65-yarder the other day and it hit the net.
That's what I'm talking about. They're not just like squeaking in there. These guys, I mean, everybody knows that these top tier kickers can do this in practice. Like if you've seen an NFL practice or a high D1 level practice or even D2, D3, like there isn't a ton of difference in these kickers. They can make 60 plus yarders. That's not really, it's about what opportunities do they get in game and how consistent are they? Do they get the chance from their coach to do that? And I think we're getting like more consistent and more of these opportunities. I guess it's just like random, but yeah, man, this kicking thing it's fun to watch, but I do wonder how much longer it'll last.
I think this next game is truly a wild card for me on Wildcard weekend. It's the Fox game. It's at 4:30 Eastern. It's the middle game on Sunday. San Francisco 49ers, Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, Philadelphia Eagles defending Super Bowl champs. They don't look the same as they did last year, though. They don't look like they are completely unstoppable like they did last year, though. Now, their defense looks great. I think they have some problems on the offensive side. Is it enough to get through to win at the link, move on to another round? Or is San Francisco, who has had their ups and downs, don't get me wrong, a lot of it because of injuries. Man, San Francisco just seems so inevitable this year, though. With all these injuries, they find a way to still make the playoffs. Brock Purdy, if it wasn't for Brock Purdy being injured the first, 8 games of the season, I think he's in the MVP race the way he's played over the last couple games. And now he has a chance to sink the defending Super Bowl champs on their home field, Lincoln Financial Field, on Saturday night. Can the San Francisco 49ers pull this one off?
You're exactly right. This feels like the San Francisco is like the team of destiny a little bit. And it just
it's weird, but it does, doesn't it?
That's the thing, is it is kind of weird. I can't really lay out exactly why I feel like that. But yeah, I am leaning the San Francisco way the entire way, honestly, for the entirety of the NFL playoffs. I think I'm going to kind of consistently lean towards the 49ers. And just obviously they've had some missteps. They are 12-5, but keep in mind that Brock Purdy did not play this entire season, so there's that as well. I don't know, man. It feels like this 49ers team has all the pieces. They've been here before. They, Brock Purdy's looking to really kind of not really write the narrative, because I feel like people are starting to understand that he's legit, but in the postseason hasn't had quite the level of success that I think people would expect from how much success he's had in the regular season. I don't know. My initial thought on this one was, yeah, this is 49ers all the way. But then they're facing the Eagles. This is a very good Eagles team.
Yeah, and you look at the weather that's supposed to happen. It's supposed to be gross. It's supposed to be raining. It's supposed to be some disgusting type of weather in Philadelphia. So who do you lean towards in that one? I mean, do you lean towards Christian McCaffrey, the shifty running back, or do you lean towards Saquon Barkley? Either of them don't really have issues fumbling the football. I think this season McCaffrey's had 2 fumbles, hasn't lost one. Barkley's had 1 fumble. He did lose that one, but that's not anything to pay attention to say, man, either these players have fumbling issues. Now, who knows if they're playing it the way they are with this kind of weather, right? You look at the 49ers defense, a lot of injuries. Yet again, no Fred Warner. Although we're seeing him climb up stadium walls, he's not going to be in this game. On the flip side, with the offensive lines, Lane Johnson might return for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that could be huge. Trent Williams, will he play for the San Francisco 49ers? If so, that could be huge. Does it come down to just having available people be ready to be the answer for this game winner? Or does it not matter? Because the Niners, game in and game out, have shown that just next man up mentality, and they've found a way to win football games. This is a wild game. This is a wild 2 games for me, or wild 2 teams to me. I think this, to me, is the biggest question mark. As we are sitting right now, I still don't know who I want to pick this game.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm going to go with San Francisco, and I think it'll be by 2 scores.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I do. I think that the Eagles are just going to kind of fall apart here, and the 49ers are going to capitalize. But that being said, I am going to completely handicap myself and say there's a real chance that the 49ers don't show up either. If the rain becomes a thing, or If the Eagles show up a little bit more than I expected them to, like it could be more even. But my initial thought is I think it's going to be pretty one-sided 49ers game here. Eagles will try to keep up and kind of keep it around the 2-score mark, if you will. It'll be a little bit of a burst from 49ers, and then we kind of ride it out towards the end of the game is how I see this going. I am surprised to see that the matchup predictor and the odds are in the Eagles' favor here. I just feel like the 49ers are better unless they incur some crazy injuries in this one like they did in the NFC Championship game a few years ago. I think this is their game, to win.
If I remember correctly, the game that the Eagles and the Bills played a couple of weeks ago where the Eagles just snuck by a win, 13-12, I think was the final. That game was a mess with rain, and it was disgusting weather-wise. And Jalen Hurts struggled. I don't think he had a completion in the second half. I think that was like a thing they were talking about where the Eagles didn't have a single completion in the second half. They still won the football game. He only threw for like 100 yards on the game. Saquon Barkley only had for like 70 yards, if I remember. There were some issues with the defense. The defense obviously stood up enough to not get Josh Allen any touchdowns. I think they had only field goals in that football game as well. I think the defense obviously is going to be what holds on. If the defense can make turnovers on Brock Purdy, I think the Eagles stand a chance. But if there's no turnovers, if Brock Purdy finds a way to just score a couple touchdowns, get into a red zone a couple times, win the field position battle, I think it's the 49ers game. If the weather is bad, the way that I remember that Bills game is that if the weather's bad, I don't think I trust Jalen Hurts to win this football game.
This Eagles team just doesn't feel consistently high-powered enough on offense. Like they have moments where they are really good, but a lot of the time it feels like they're just letting down, kind of what they're capable of. And that's why I'm leaning 49ers here. There's a chance that the 49ers that the Eagles have the offensive game that they're capable of. Like they are capable of having a really good offensive night, or day, I suppose. It'll be 3:30 Central. But I am leaning towards the Eagles offense kind of sputters out. It's not really clicking. It's another one of those games, man. Like it feels like the Eagles have those games a lot. And I'm just going to bank on the fact that the 49ers defense is going to cause some trouble. Okay. They're going to be, they're going to be pretty solid on offense, 49ers, I mean, and the Eagles aren't going to be able to keep up. I think they're just going to struggle offensively in this one. You're right. The defense will probably hang, but you got to score points to win. And unless the pick six from Cooper DeJean's coming down the pipe, give me the 49ers.
I couldn't save the graphic. I'm with you. I think the Niners are going to win this football game as well. Another upset on the road. Wild one. This will be a wild one. If the Philadelphia Eagles go down on Wildcard weekend, yeah, it'll be insane. Because you could imagine that. The conversations that'll happen after this game happens and the San Francisco 49ers win. No Chiefs, no Eagles. I mean, brand new Super Bowl, potentially. Ooh. ESPN's got this 155.4 in favor of Philly. They don't agree with us. San Francisco, 44.6. Pretty close to a coin flip, though. It's close enough. It's going to be a wild game for sure. Before we finish these next two games, I got an interesting game for you. Let's do a little bit blind rankings, 1 through 5. I need you to rank these ones 1 through 5. I hope you're ready for it.
What are we ranking?
Since it's a fun weekend of college football, NFL, I want you to blind rank your favorite tailgate foods. Here we go. Number 1.
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
Chicken wings. Put chicken
wings. That's a tough one. That's a really, really good one. I think I'm going to take it at 2. I got to leave space for 1. It's a little extra messy, so I can't take that 1 spot.
All right. Cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburger, give me 4. I'm not a huge fan of cheeseburgers at the tailgate. A lot of other better sandwich options.
All right. Pulled pork.
I'm from Iowa, so it's a classic in the graduation scene. So it does lose a few points there. I'm going to go at 3. If it's done well, it could be an A+ food.
Wow. Setting yourself up for a 1 or a 5 here. Here we go. Yeah. How about brats, sausages, brats, hot dogs? Put them all together.
Got to be the 1. It can't be 5, so it's got to be the 1.
All right. And the final one was chili. You ready to put that at 5?
I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. I don't love having to hold the bowl. It feels like I can't walk fast. I might spill it. I'm okay with how this turned out. I'd say that's an 8 out of 10 blind rank.
All right, not too bad.
That was fun though.
Brats for number 1. Look at that. Yeah. So are you are you a hot dog guy, Italian sausage? Like what's the brat of your choice? What are you going with there? There's a whole bunch.
I'm just pretty standard. I don't love the cheese when it's infused there. I was actually nervous you were going to bring out chili dogs because
doing
they're
it.
so underrated. Nobody has chili dogs at tailgates. I thought you were literally you said chili. I thought you were going to say chili dogs, and I was like,
Oh.
oh, I have to
Now,
put
if this
chili
was
dogs at 5.
if we were talking baseball in the summer doing tailgates, I would have brought chili dogs out. But although it's cold, it would have been good. I thought chili would have made sense because it's cold out. We got a lot of cold games coming, especially this next one. It's supposed to be freezing rain / snow in Foxborough, 8 o'clock Eastern on Sunday night. This one's on Peacock or NBC, basically the Sunday Night Football ways you normally watch them. Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. The Chargers coming over from the West Coast to take on the New England Patriots. Is the evil empire back? Is the New England Patriots back? Can Vrabel bring him back? Can Drake May do it? Can he make it happen? Can he continue his MVP run in his exciting young career? Patriots 14-3. That just looks right when you see the records. As much as if you're a Patriot fan or not, when you look at the record, you're like, yeah, the Patriots 14-3. That just makes a lot of sense. The first things that come to my mind is, can the Patriots continue this? I don't see the Patriots losing in Foxborough the first weekend of the year. I also don't know if Harbaugh is ready for what the Patriots are going to bring him, because that offensive line is just so beat up. And I don't know if Herbert has enough to be able to control and overcome that alone.
Can you imagine Herbert on a team with a legitimate offensive line? He would be.
I mean, I can. At the first half of the season, I saw it this year, and then it just fell apart.
I suppose that's fair.
This year was the year that they finally figured it out, and then injuries came in the way. So unfortunately, yes, I can picture it.
That's actually totally valid. All of my memories of this season have been him with a broken hand fending off defenders like he's just some sort of madman. Obviously everybody can see my sweatshirt. I am wearing a Patriots sweatshirt, so keep that in mind. But I am going to lean the Patriots here. It's not as favorable as I probably wish I could. I think Drake May is unbelievable and is going to have a very solid. What is that? A very solid record. A very solid outing. I don't. It's so funny though. He's probably gonna further his MVP push a little bit. Like, I don't think this is anything too crazy. I do worry though. Just something in my gut, tells me that it's just too early. You're right though. It does feel like normal to see 14-3 next to the Patriots, but then you remember I think it's just because going into the playoffs, I'm so used to like Bill Belichick and the defense is going to be so bulletproof, sound like it is. You just know, you knew going into the playoffs, especially, that you were going to win a lot of games with Bill Belichick, and it's not the same coach. And I love Mike Vrabel, and I think he's the best coach for the Patriots, and I can't wait to see what this postseason looks like for him. And obviously, if it doesn't go well, he's still really early, in his tenure with the Patriots, so I'm not too worried about it. But I definitely have a small I wonder. You're facing Justin Herbert. If they were facing some younger quarterback that hadn't really seen a whole lot. Obviously, Herbert, not a ton of experience in the playoffs, but he's been around. He's extremely talented, can make a bunch of plays. The thing I'm holding on to, the reason I'm picking the Patriots is Drake. I'm just going to say Drake May. It's just let's use his actual name. Is very capable of commanding the offense and driving this team down the field. I think the Ravens game is maybe one of the best examples of that. If the Chargers find a way to keep this close, come away with, a lead late in it, I'm not counting the Patriots out yet. Offensively, they are very sound to me. At least that's my perception. And I think that they'll be able to find a way to come away with more points at the end of this one.
Milton Williams returned last week. He was out since November. He returned. That was a big help for the Patriots because one of the biggest questions they had is, can they get to the quarterback? I think that obviously helps them. He didn't get really a chance to see it much because he returned in a blowout game against the Miami Dolphins. He only had 2 tackles, 1 assist in their game. I don't know how many snaps he actually played, but he returned from the IR in that one right before the playoffs here. I think a lot of people think the Patriots are going to win this game, and I think there's good reason for it. The Patriots look really good, what they've looked over the last couple of weeks, especially what Drake May has shown. The running game starting to take off, not even just Travion Henderson. Stevenson starting to take off as well. There's a lot of things pointing in the right direction for the New England Patriots. So let me just throw it back at you right here. The Patriots lose if...
I think it's if they don't play to their potential. They're capable of beating this Chargers team, but if they excuse me, if they drop some balls, if they miss some tackles, if the Chargers come out with like, I think if Herbert's really able to extend plays, I think that's going to be a potential problem for New England. And that's just football in general. Like at some point, it's really tough to stop a quarterback that can extend a play, for an extra 2, 3, 4 seconds. It's hard to cover for that long. And the Chargers could end up with a few extra touchdowns. They can get a little bit ahead of schedule. I don't know if the Patriots can stick with them there. I think they can, but I would say the Patriots are very capable of winning this game. But if a few things don't go their way, like it's literally just like the bounce of a ball, they lose the turnover battle, things like that. Like, don't count the Chargers out. This is not going to be a blowout, I wouldn't say.
I'm leaning more towards this one getting out of hand because I just don't have any faith in that offensive line for the Chargers. And I think the Patriots are going to beat them up. I really do. I think it's going to be a tough trip across to the East Coast. You're going into weather. This is a team that's played in a dome, their home games. Now, of course, it's Harbaugh. He's going to treat, he knows that he can get these guys to play tough football. Don't get me wrong. They lost a close one to the Texans. They lost a close one to the Broncos to end their season. I think the Chargers are a very good team, but I think they're a very good team when they're healthy, and that's something they haven't had a chance to do so. Herbert rested in that game against the Broncos. How much does that help him? How much does that hurt him? That's the biggest question. Like, is rust going to be a thing, or the fact that he got a little bit of time off going to be a thing? We can say that about a couple quarterbacks in these playoffs. I think the Patriots win this game handily. Like, I think this might be one of the games where we are watching and we're excited. We're like, man, how many good games do we have Saturday and Sunday? And then we sit down for NFC Sunday night football for the Wildcard, or NBC Wildcard football, if you will. And the Patriots just run away with this game. Like, I could totally see that.
I hope they do.
From the point from Harbaugh hitting the shoulder pads to Herbert. I mean, like, that's probably the highlight for the Chargers, I think. It's just that. It's going to be a bad game, I think, for the Chargers. I'm going Patriots by, man, dare I say it? I think Patriots win by 3 scores.
I knew you were going to throw that out there. I don't see it, but it's not impossible. Like, this is a good Patriots team. We were talking about it before, I think it was before we recorded, when I was like, this Patriots team is good. It's just, to me, the vibes, I don't know. I'm not getting dominant, will come in and beat anybody vibes. Like, they're capable of competing with anybody, but I think they're going to have to prove it every single week. And this is, hey, everyone's 0-0, like, it doesn't matter what you've done in the regular season. You got to step up right now. And they're very capable of doing that, but I'll be curious. I can't wait to watch this game.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to see a playoff game that's a 3-score deficit. I don't, even if it's my favorite team. I just don't want to. But I do think that if any of these games go astray fast, like all weekend, I think it's this one between the Patriots and the Chargers.
That's fair.
Monday Night Football. I mean, I still haven't got used to this. Still haven't got used to this. I like it. Don't get me wrong, but I still haven't got used to it. We got a playoff game on Monday night. So we get 3 days of NFL playoffs. Texans and Steelers. This is going to be a really interesting one. 8:15 ESPN or ABC. You got the Texans. You got the Steelers. The Steelers just snuck into the playoffs. I mean, there is no better way to say this one. A missed field goal by the Baltimore Ravens. Get the Steelers a home playoff game on Monday night. Absolutely insane game that was last Monday night. Now we're going to get that potentially. Well, it was Sunday night, but we're going to get that again with the Steelers and the Texans. One thing that I know about the Texans, they have probably one of the most underrated, underappreciated, and just baller defenses. Their defense is so good. They are electric. And when you think about Houston Texans defenses of the years past, like J.J. Watts, you remember how good those defenses were. They kept them in games. It's the same exact philosophy. If not, you can even make the argument that their defenses are better now than they were in the J.J. Watt era. And now you have a quarterback in a C.J. Stroud who has some young wide receivers, who has a decent offensive line, who has enough to continue and manage a game if their defense can hold up. Obviously, their defense controls things. And then on the flip side, you have the ageless wonder in Aaron Rodgers, who is arguably playing in his final playoffs in the NFL. Who do you like in this one?
I think I'm curious how close you think this one will be, but I am taking the Texans by multiple scores here. Obviously, the Pittsburgh Steelers will get DK Metcalf back, which will certainly help their offensive output. But I think that the Texans team is too good defensively. I don't know. Obviously Higgins and Nolan in this is cool too, but I just feel in my loins like the Texans are going to run away with this one. And it might not be early, it might be a third quarter touchdown to put them up by 14, and the Steelers don't really ever make it too much of a game after that. They might score and try to onside it, or 3 timeouts, whatever, stop the clock. I think the Texans are going to walk away with this one, no problems, and we'll get an early start to our is Aaron Rodgers returning conversation. And I think this year will be the year, especially if they lose in the first round, that he's hanging them up, which is honestly really sad, but I think it's a reality.
Texans are the hottest team heading into the playoffs. There is no debate about that. They've won their last 9 football games. And there is nothing harder than winning 9 football games in a row. I know we've had a couple streaks, and the Broncos had one as well. I mean, that's true. 10 would be harder for sure. Can they do 10 against the Steelers on the road in Pittsburgh against Aaron Rodgers? Hey, look, as much as you want to say that he might be cooked, he might be on his way out. He found a way to beat the Ravens. I mean, he needed some help, but they found a way to stick around. He did it without DK Metcalf. Their running game looked a little, they looked a little good. Their defense looked okay. I think this game is a little closer than, I think the Patriots-Chargers game is the one that goes south. I think this one's a little closer. I think Rodgers finds a way to maybe control the game a little bit more. I don't know if I want to hand the win to the Steelers here. I think that would be the upset of the weekend if the Steelers beat the Texans, which is wild to say because it's a 4 or 5 seed matchup. But if you're going to talk about any team that technically doesn't belong here, I think you can make the argument that the Steelers belong less than the Panthers because of how wild that Sunday Night Football game was and how many times they lost that game and then won it and then lost it and then wound up winning at the very end. How wild would it be if you're one of those? Are you a conspiracy theorist? Put the tinfoil hat on now.
Oh, okay.
Does the NFL script just say Aaron Rodgers wins another wild one?
What if the script says Aaron Rodgers wins a Super Bowl? That would be awesome. That would definitely be his final game. I don't know if their script writers are going to give Aaron Rodgers a lot of grace here. And you said something in there that really struck me. It was one of the best ways I've seen it put. Rodgers just finds a way to win these games.
Finds a way.
And it's ugly. It might not be that his numbers are bad, but when you watch him play, it's was that the best throw? Was that the best decision? Was that, there are a lot of question marks around, I think, Aaron Rodgers just in comparison to what he was, in 2010 or whatever, 2009, 2012, that era of football, he was so good, and he's not quite that anymore, but that doesn't mean that he's a nobody, right? Aaron Rodgers is so much closer to a Tom Brady than anybody else basically in the league, not necessarily at this moment, but as a legend that you can't forget. Even if he takes a step back, he's still a very, very good quarterback, one of the best to ever do it. So he'll find a way. He's got the maybe not playoff experience, but certainly the NFL experience to win these kinds of games if it ends up being close. I still am going to lean the Texans. I don't think they give the Steelers or Aaron Rodgers a chance to use that Rodgers magic to find a way back into these games. I still feel like it's a first-round exit for the Steelers, but you do bring up a good point. I don't know how they do it, but somehow the Steelers find a way and Aaron Rodgers find a way to win these games. Maybe that happens. Maybe it ends up being a super weird one, but I have to lean with CJ Stroud and the Houston Cyclones, if you will.
Houston Cyclones, love that. DK Metcalf, obviously returning is huge. It's huge. If they would have had him against the Browns,
so underrated.
If they would have had him against the Browns, they win that game. That Sunday Night Football game doesn't matter. Against the Ravens, they clinched the division 2 weeks prior. If they had him against the Ravens, that game doesn't come down to a final field goal. The Steelers win that football game handily. I 100% believe that if DK Metcalf was in either of those games, that this wouldn't have been a conversation. We wouldn't have had maybe one of the greatest Sunday Night Football games we've ever had. So thank you, DK Metcalf, in a silent way for getting suspended. But now that he's back, that's huge. He's their leading receiver in yardage by more than double. He's at 850 yards in the season. Pat Freiermuth is in second with 486. It's basically double, more than double, right? So, no, not more than double. Math is hard these days. But either way, DK Metcalf being back with Aaron Rodgers only throwing 7 interceptions on a season, only being sacked 29 times in a season. TJ Watt being back, returning from his injury that came back last week. Look, I think this game is going to be a little closer than you think. I think
Really?
Renegade's going to show up at the end of the third quarter. I think they're going to play Renegade in the stands. Those terrible towels are going to twist. And I think that the Steelers, if anybody's going to come away with, here I go. I think the Steelers have an upset against the Houston Texans. I'm going to go the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know why? Because as much as we like to give Mike Tomlin jokes for going 9-8, he thrives as the underdog. I mean, come on. He certainly does. He certainly thrives as the underdog. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers to upset the Houston Texans at home, wildcard weekend to end a wild NFL first weekend. How about that?
Hey, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. That would be fun too. Like, I want all of these games to be really close. And of course, underdogs winning is so much more fun. It's not always the masses might not love, a Final Four of like the Panthers, and I guess the Jags are good, but it feels like they would be out of place, and maybe throw in like the Steelers or whatever. Like the masses might not love that, but there is some charm to the underdogs coming away with these wins. So I'm just hoping for great games across the board. And obviously I want like the Patriots to win, but outside of that, I just want good games. I think that's not too much to ask.
Yeah, I'm excited for this weekend. It's going to be very fun. Of course, college football playoffs start tonight as well. So a lot of good stuff to cover. And of course, we'll have you covered here tomorrow on the channel as we can continue as we do every single day right here on Marv and Rauh in the morning. We'll see you back here tomorrow with another episode. I hope you enjoyed this one. The NFL playoffs are going to be wild. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Marv and Rauh in the morning.